Okay, we'll be multiplying using distribution. And you'll notice that on this first one here, there's no number here. It's just a negative sitting right here. So we're going to put an understood 1 there. So this is going to be a negative 1 times x cubed minus 10x squared plus 6x minus 1. And I'm going to need another understood 1 for the x cubed here. Okay, so there are 4 terms here, so that means there'll be 4 distributions, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we're going to point to each one of those, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's start that process. So first, we're going to be multiplying a negative 1 with a 1x cubed. Now, if I were to rearrange this, let's just say this is negative 1 times 1 and then times x cubed. 1 times 1 is 1. Multiply by 1 negative, you get negative 1. And x cubed is here. And this is understood, so I can write negative 1x cubed, or I can write negative x cubed. Either one will work. So I'm going to write a negative 1x cubed. I'm going to use this one right here. Negative 1x cubed. Oh, sorry, I forgot the 1. All right, next. Let's go for the negative 1 multiplied with the negative 10x squared. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the negative 1 and negative 10. So 1 times 10 is 10. When you multiply 2 negatives, you will get a positive, and you'll have x squared left. So this is going to be a positive 10x squared. All right, next we have a negative 1 multiplied with a 6x. Okay, so 1 times 6 is 6. You multiply by 1 negative, you get a negative, and then times x. So this is going to be a negative 6x. Okay, and finally, at the end, you're going to have a negative 1 multiplied with a negative 1. 1 times 1 is 1, and when you multiply by 2 negatives, you'll have a positive. So this will be a positive 1. Okay, and we're done. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, what we have here is a negative 3, and we have I'm going to put an understood 1 here. Everything else has a coefficient, 5, 2, and there's a constant 1. So negative 3 here, and this will be a negative x to the 4th. I'm going to put the understood 1 there, plus 5x cubed plus 2x minus 1. And then we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 distributions here. So let's point to all our distributions and start the process. Okay, so first we're going to have a negative 3 multiplied with a negative 1, x to the 4th. Okay, so we don't have to change any of the arrangements here. We can just multiply our 3 times 1 and get 3. You're multiplying by 2 negatives, so that's going to be a positive, and then x to the 4th. So this is positive 3 times x to the 4th. Since this is a leading coefficient, we don't need to put the plus on here. If you do, it's not wrong. But if it leads, the plus is understood, just like ones are understood. Okay, let's go further. So next we have a negative 3 multiplied with the next coefficient, next term, which is a 5x cubed. And the 3 times 5 is 15. You multiply by 1 negative, so that's negative times x cubed. So negative 15x cubed. Next, we have a the negative 3 multiplying with the 2x. And the 3 times 2 is 6. Multiplied by 1 negative is negative. And then 6, negative 6x. Sorry, negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6x. And finally, we're multiplying a negative 3 with a negative 1 here. 3 times 1, again, is 3. And if you multiply by 2 negatives, you're going to get a positive. So it's going to be a positive 3. Okay. Moving to the next problem. Let's see, do we need any? Yep, we need an understood 1 here. We got a 5, 2, and 1 there. So negative 6x, and then a negative x to the fourth, we'll put understood 1 there. A negative 5x cubed plus 2x minus 1. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms inside this parentheses, so we need 4 distributions of the negative 6x. So let's start that. So negative 6x multiplied with a negative 1x to the fourth. I'm going to use some new associations, negative 6 and negative 1, and then we'll put the x times the x to the fourth. Right here, 6 times 1 is 6. Multiplied by 2 negatives is going to give us positive. X times x to the fourth, that's actually x times x times x times x times x if you expand that. Oh, sorry, one more x. And this is 6x to the fifth power. So this is going to be 6x to the fifth power. All right, next. We're multiplying a negative 6x with a negative 5x cubed. So negative 5x cubed. So we're going to reassociate this with negative 6 multiplied with a negative 5 and the x together with the x cubed. Okay, and 6 times 5 is 30. You multiply 2 negatives, you get positive. And then the x times x cubed is really a total of 4 x's. So this will be positive 30x to the fourth power. So plus 30x to the fourth. Okay, furthermore, we have a negative 6x multiplied with that 2x here. And we'll rearrange that to be negative 6 times the 2 and then the x times the x. And this will give us 12. When you multiply by one negative, you get negative. And the x times x is represented by x squared. So this will be a negative 12x squared. And finally, we have a negative 6x multiplied with a negative 1. Change the associations. Negative 6 times negative 1 and then times x. 6 times 1 is 6. Negative times negative is positive. And then we have 6 times x at the end. So this will be a 6 plus 6 and x. All right. Next. We have, I need understood 1 here. So this will be a negative 5x squared and a negative x to the fourth at the understood 1 minus 5x cubed plus 2x minus 1. And we have 4 distributions that we're going to use. So this will be first, second, third, and fourth. Okay, let's begin. So we have negative 5x squared times negative 1x to the fourth. And we're going to reassociate this negative 5 times negative 1 and then have x squared times x to the fourth. This right here, 5 times 1 is 5, and negative times negative is positive. Now, this is x squared, which is x times x. This is x to the fourth, which is x times x times x times x times x. And so essentially what we have is a positive 5, and this guy is x to the 6th power. Okay, so we're going to have 5x to the 6th power. Okay, next, we're multiplying a negative 5x squared times a negative 5x cubed. And I know that's off the screen. Let's bring that back here. So what we're going to do is associate the negative 5's together, and then we're going to associate the x's together. And we get 5 times 5, which is 25, and the 2 negatives will give us positive when they're multiplied. And this right here is x times x, and this right here is x times x times x. So this will be a positive 25, a total of 5 x's, which is x to the fifth. So we have a plus 25x to the fifth. Next, we're multiplying a negative 5x squared times a 2x. Okay, so what this will give us, negative 5 times a 2, and then you have a x squared times an x. Sorry about the extra parentheses. Okay, 5 times 2 is 10. We multiply by one negative, you'll get negative. X squared times x is actually x times x times x, which simplifies down to an x cubed. So minus 10x cubed. And finally, we have a negative 5x squared multiplied with a negative 1. Reassociate these, so you get negative 5 times the negative 1, and the x squared sitting here. 5 times 1 is 5. Multiplying by two negatives should give you positive, so this becomes positive 5 times x squared. So positive 5 times x squared.